Welcome to a new series where we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the Destiny 1 raids. Today we're going to be starting off with Crota's End. I wanted to get some more authentic gameplay, so what you're seeing on screen is Tfu's solo speedrun of the raid. I'm going to start off briefly by talking about his loadout. So in his primary slot we have Mida Multi-Tool. The reason he's using this is because it increases your movement speed, which is very good in this encounter. It's also worth noting for the armor he has the exotic gauntlets called the Don't Touch Me's. Whenever you're meleeed, these cause you to go invisible. This is very good for this encounter again. So we're starting off with the Abyss encounter, and essentially we have this debuff on the left called the Weight of Darkness. As this debuff increases, it will slow you down, and the reason you don't want to be slow in this encounter is because the main enemy are thralls. So basically this whole encounter is one big maze where you use lanterns to cleanse your debuff, so you have to navigate through the maze using the lanterns to get to the end and then build a bridge. In terms of the loot table for this first encounter, you could get the Oversoul Pulse Rifle and also the chest piece, arms, legs, and also the class item. Moving on to the bridge encounter. Now infamously, you could actually cheese this whole encounter by simply jumping over the gap where you were supposed to build the bridge. To do this, you would use a combination of double jumps and also light attacks from the Sword Relic. Once you were at the other side, it was just as simple as clearing adds. As for the rewards for the bridge encounter, you could get the chest piece, arms, and boots, and also the Abyss Defiant Auto Rifle. Moving on, we have the Death Singer. This was a pretty simple timed encounter. All you would need to do is clear adds and kill the Death Singer before she finished singing her song. As for the reward table for the Death Singer, you would have another chance at the class item, and you also had a chance to get an exotic. Now this was quite rare in Destiny 1. Finally, we have Crota. Essentially, the only way to damage Crota was with a sword, and a sword bearer would spawn every so often, so you would have one player kill the sword bearer and pick up the sword. The only problem here was the sword bearer couldn't deal damage to Crota until the rest of your fire team had taken down his overshield. Once your fire team had destroyed the overshield and stunned Crota, your sword bearer could then go in and deal damage to Crota. This was just a simple game of rinsing and repeating this process. I found it quite interesting in Destiny 1, the bulk of the raid loot actually came from the final boss. So starting off with the cosmetics. You could obtain 2 ships, a sparrow, and also 2 shaders, one of which was Glowhoo, probably one of my personal favourites from Destiny 1. So here I wanted to talk about some of my favourite weapons in the Crota loot pool. So starting off we have the hand cannon called the Word of Crota. This hand cannon had the perk Hive Disruptor, which allowed it to deal extra damage to Hive mages, and it also had another perk called Phantom Gift. This perk states rapidly landing 3 precision hits would return 1 round to the magazine, and as you can imagine this was actually really strong. Not to mention this hand cannon could also roll with explosive rounds, and in Destiny 1 these were pretty fun to use. Next up we have the legendary sniper rifle Black Hammer. This weapon eventually changed to Black Spindle, and then in Destiny 2 Whisper of the Worm. And as you're probably aware, this sniper had the perk White Nail. Rapidly landing 3 precision shots would refill the magazine from your reserves. This weapon was really good against slow moving targets with big crit spots. And finally, what I would consider to be the raid exotic, we have the Necrochasm. Now the reason I'm calling this the raid exotic is because you would have to get the Crux of Crota to drop from the Crota encounter in order to get your Necrochasm. This weapon had a really high rate of fire, and when you killed enemies it would actually cause thrall explosions. I did just want to mention at the end here, the Scout Rifle, Pulse Rifle, Hand Cannon and Auto Rifle all returned as adept exotic weapons with Age of Triumph. But with that all being said, thank you so much for watching my first episode of Forgotten Raids. Let me know if you'd like me to cover another raid and we'll just see how this video does. But I did just want to say thank you again for 3,000 subscribers and goodbye.
Hopping on my whip and I'm parked up.